Good day, grade 11 students. Welcome to General Mathematics. So we are now done with lesson 1.2, part 1 and 2. So we'll proceed now to our next topic, which is lesson 1.2, part 3. And we are still under computing gross and net pay. So for the learning competency, we are still on number 3. So let's proceed now to the continuation of our deep dive into salaries, deductions, and taxes. So for our learning objectives for today, we'll tackle three big ideas. First, understanding different types of taxes. Number two, computing for the withholding tax. And of course, number three, we will apply all of these concepts through simple problem solving. So let's begin. First, let us have the summary for the employee share or our mandatory contributions. So this table summarizes the mandatory government deductions from an employee's salary in the Philippines. So which are the contributions to different social benefit programs. So for private sector employees, we have the SSS. And the contribution is 5% of the monthly salary credit. So a lot of students get confused on this one. Always remember that we are basing our computation not on the monthly salary, but on the monthly salary credit. So always check your MSC. So the final answer must be in whole number, okay? And it should fall between 5,000 to 35,000. And it must be rounded up to the nearest multiple of 500. Next is the GSIS contribution. So the GSIS are is exclusive for government employees, which requires 9% of the monthly salary, which is rounded off to the nearest whole number. So it covers life insurance, retirement disability, and survivorship benefits. So the Pag-ibig Fund, applicable to all employees, offers savings and loan benefits. So if the monthly compensation is 1,500 or less, we use 1% deduction. But otherwise, 2% is taken from the salary if it is above 1,500 pesos. However, the maximum monthly contribution is capped at 200 pesos. So don't forget, the value should not be greater than 200, and it is rounded off into two decimal places. So just in case you'll it's possible to get 196 pesos and 50 centavos, just remember to round it up. So those are for salaries below 10,000 pesos, which are capped. Lastly, let's talk about PhilHealth, which is required for all employees, and it provides healthcare and hospitalization coverage. So it also applies to all employees. So the contribution rate is 2.5% of the monthly salary and is subject to a salary floor from 10,000 and a ceiling which is 100,000. So this is the deduction is also rounded off to two decimal places. So these contributions are non-taxable and are important for ensuring access to government support in times of needs. So since we already had a brief discussion of this summary for the employee share, we'll move now to activity number 5, which is the mandatory deductions monthly and annually. So let's complete each table by referring to the previous mandatory discussion discussed on part 1 and part 2 video lessons. Look at this example. So we are to complete two private employee problems and one public employee problem. So first, let's focus on the SSS contribution when the monthly salary is 20,000. So again, we get 1% of the MSC. And in here, we don't need to round it off because the MSC is already the gross income also. So the answer here is 5. We multiply it by 0.05, which is 5%. So 20,000 times 0.05 is 1,000 pesos. Next, for the pag-ibig, this is of a 10,000 cap. So automatically, we'll charge 200 or deduct 200. Then we have for the PhilHealth, we get 2.5% contribution. So that's 0.025 multiplied by 20,000. So the answer is very good. It is 500 pesos. Now we add 2, 4, and 5 since GSIS is not applicable for a private employee. So the answer is 1,700 pesos. Now, how do we get the second column, the annual part or the annually part? So we multiply monthly times 12. So 20,000 times 12 is 240,000. So you could work together with me. 1,000 times 12 is 12,000. 200 times 12 is 2,400. Are we doing it right? Next, 500 times 12 is 6,000 pesos. Then we add again 2, 4, and 5 to get the total mandatory deduction. And that is equivalent to, very good, it is equivalent to 20,400. Now let us proceed to the second table. So this is quite different because our given is 348,000. So we divide now to get the monthly salary. So that's a total of 29,000. Again, we don't need to convert this one into its MSC because the monthly salary credit is already rounded off to the nearest 500 brackets. Okay, so that's 29,000. Because when you look at the SSS table, it will be a bracket of 28,000, 28,500, 29,000, then 29,500, and so on. So 29,000 is already on that bracket, so we don't need to round it up to the nearest MSC or the monthly salary credit. So we simply get 5% of the 29,000. So 0.05 times 29,000 is 1,450 pesos. Next is the pag-ibig is also 200 pesos because that's already the maximum above 10,000 cap. And then the PhilHealth is 725 pesos. Always remember that there will be instances that the pag-ibig and the PhilHealth contribution should be reflected as decimals. So it would depend on the computation. So the 725 here from PhilHealth contribution was multiplied by 0.025, which is 2.5%. And to get the total mandatory deductions, we simply add 2, 4, and 5. Again, the GSIS contribution is not applicable here. So we have 2,375. So we simply multiply by 12. I'll make it faster. So this is 17,400 pesos. We also got here 2,400 and then 8,700. Again, we are multiplying by 12 and the total mandatory deduction annually is 28,500. I hope you get me. Now, let's talk about a salary grade. Let's change this problem. What if we have a salary grade 18, step 1, and so this is a government employee. So the SSS is not applicable. So in here, the GSIS contribution is rounded off to the whole number. So how did we get this one? We multiply a salary grade 18 personnel with a monthly salary of 51,304. We multiply it by 0.0. So the answer is 400, 4,617 rounded off to the nearest peso. Then the pag-ibig is 200 pesos. For PhilHealth, we get 2.5% multiplied by 0.25. Could you check? So that's 1,282 and 60 centavos. Then we get the values from 3, 4, and 5. We add everything and we will get a total mandatory contribution for a public employee or a government employee, which is 6,099 and 60 centavos. So now the decimal works for the PhilHealth, but remember, it's not only in the PhilHealth, Pag-ibig Fund also computes decimals. So we simply multiply everything by 12 and we will get this answer. So again, we change it. The problem a while ago, the first given is SG12, I think, but now we change it to SG18. In class, I think you will be, in face-to-face class, you will be answering SG12. Now, let us proceed now to activity number 6. Because aside from those government mandatory deductions, the government also collects tax from us. So, why does the government collect tax? So, this is our next topic because part of your deductions is the what we call the withholding tax. But let us first be familiar with the taxation. So taxes are the lifeblood of the government and they fund public services such as education, our healthcare, infrastructures, national defense, and social services. So without these taxes, we wouldn't have public schools, paved roads, and government aid. So for activity number 6, let's explore 7 types of taxes with trivia styles explanation. So on your GenMat notebook, could you try to figure out which of the statements with the description below match those red marks inside the box? So those are the different types of tax. So kindly figure out. I'm giving you like you browse carefully and try to write on your GenMat notebook the answers. I'll give you 1 minute to figure out what are the correct answers. You may post this video if you still need time. So although I'm giving you a minute only, you can take this one in 5 minutes, 10 minutes by posting this video. And then afterwards, you can proceed to the correct answers by self-checking. Okay, so let's proceed now. I'll reveal now the answers. Hopefully, you were able to pause this part of the video so that you have you'll have your self-checking if you got the correct answers. Let's have item number 1. So what do you think is the type of tax referring to this description? Very good. The correct answer is value added tax. So every time you buy your favorite milk tea or gadgets, you're actually paying an extra 12%, and that's the government's value added tax or VAT. Sometimes it's also referred as the EVAT or the extended value added tax. So it's like a 12% invisible fee every time you shop or you eat out. Let's move now to the second statement or the second description. What do you think is the type of tax that we are referring to? Did you get income tax? So here's the fact. Whether you're an employee or a big time business owner, a part of what you earn goes to the government. So that's the income tax working behind the scenes. So so you are actually required to submit in BIR a what we call an income tax return or an ITR, and you sign it together with your name and the cedula. So it's always taken from your salary or any business profit. So this is how the government earns from your earnings. So that's the tax income. So later, we will talk more about how the tax income is collected annually, because we will be getting no, the monthly tax, which is called an advancement to your income tax, and we will be calling it the withholding tax, which will be deducted from you monthly. So let's proceed now to number 3. What do you think is the answer? Correct. So the answer is excise tax. So the excise tax is charged on sin products like alcohol, tobacco, sugary drinks, and even luxury cars. So more popularly, the sugar tax is under the excise tax. Okay? So it's designed to either control your consumption or charge luxury items. What about number 4? Very good. The answer is estate tax. So before inherited property is passed on to the heirs, so the government takes a cut. So that's surprising but true. So every time you get a person's house, a money, or a property that is passed to generation, you still have to pay tax for it, and you must settle that estate tax before you get the entire property. Let's proceed now to item number 5. Correct. The answer is real property tax. So the real property tax is also popular in our language as the amilyar. Okay, so it's paid annually for owning land and buildings, and it goes to your city and town, or actually the provincial government also gets something from it. So owning a land or a house means you should pay for your real property tax every year. So this used to funds our era, no? The barangay era, the community era, the municipal era, or maybe if you live in a city, this is where your real property tax go, or the amilyar goes. Aside from that, there's another type of tax that could be paid in the municipality. So what kind of tax is this one? Correct. The answer is the community tax, or the what we call the cedula. So a small tax all adults pay used to get official documents. So every time you sign a formal document which involves government, you'll always going to be asked for the cedula. Now let's proceed to the 7th one, or the last one. Very good. So the answer is the business tax. Okay? So the business tax is paid by businesses to the LGU where they operate. So every sari-sari store, coffee shop, or any business in your city or town pays a local tax, just the right to prepare, to get the right to operate. So it's called the business tax. Now let's try to understand the withholding tax. So the withholding tax is deducted on your payslip. So it should appear on your payslip. Whether you are exempted, it will still appear. So if you are exempted, the withholding tax will become 0. But this withholding tax is actually your income tax, which is the one that I've discussed a while ago, the item number two, which is taken from salaries or business profit. So whatever you will earn, the government will get income tax from you. But monthly, you will be deducted with this item on the payslip, which is what we call the withholding tax. So to better understand the withholding tax, so it's the Bureau of Internal Revenue who collects this one. So it's applicable to all employees, and the purpose is for advanced collection of your income tax. Because the basis of income tax is annually, so you'll just be it will just be collected monthly, but the entire thing will be computed annually. So how does it work? So employers deduct tax every month, which is what we call the withholding tax, and it is remitted annually to the BIR. So based on it will always be based on your salary and exemptions, no? And you won't need to pay a lump sum at the end of the year. So if too much is actually deducted, then you'll get a what you call a refund. And sometimes at the end of the year, your withholding tax will be adjusted. So it's either there will be an increase of tax at the end of the year because of certain overpayments, or maybe you had an underpayment on your income tax, then those will be the adjustments that will be done. So again, if your tax withheld amount exceeds your actual due, then you'll receive a refund from BIR after filing your income tax. So all of those money are just withheld monthly by your employers. And this system ensures that you don't have to pay at the end of the year a lump sum tax, because it will be difficult for the employee to do that. It will affect your um, year-end budget as well. So now let's try to learn how to compute the withholding tax. So let's simplify the process. So for step number A, this is what the accountants usually do. They will compute the annual gross income. So we simply multiplied here the monthly salary times 12. Um, we will also add other income such as the overtime pay, the bonuses, commissions, and other taxable allowances. For step B, we deduct the non-taxable income, or sometimes they are referred to the non-taxable deductions or the mandatory contributions. But aside from the mandatory contributions such as SSS, GSIS, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig, it includes up to 90,000 and 13-month pay and other benefits which are exempted from tax. But beyond that, the 90,000, all of those will be deducted. Also includes the de minimis benefits, the 250 tax exemption for individuals. So the process of taxation is very complicated. So for the next problems, we'll just be computing for the basic salary, and it's really difficult to consider whether a particular bonus or benefit is taxable or non-taxable. So you really have to classify each. But we will be making simple problems and solving simple problems. And lastly, we compute the taxable income and, of course, apply the BIR tax table based from the Train Law tax table as of 2025. So let's talk about the Train Law. This was signed by former President Rodrigo Duterte. So this is how we are taxed according to income. So for 250,000 and below, we charge no tax. So all of the employees with an annual gross income of 250,000 below are tax exempted. So that's our bracket number 1. For bracket 2, we compute 15% of the excess over the 250,000. For the third bracket, there is a fixed amount which is 22,500 plus the excess of your 400,000. Now, if you have an income between 800,000 to 2 million, then you'll get a fixed amount of 2,500, and then we multiply the excess of that 800,000 by 25%. So that's bracket number 4. And so on. So I'll not be digging deeper on this one. So, but before we proceed to our illustrative examples, let me give you an important reminder. So this is a disclaimer. The problems that we'll be solving in this video lesson will be simple and will not and will only involve the basic salary. So now, why is that? We're doing this to make it easier for you to understand the basic steps in computing the gross income, deductions, and withholding tax without too much confusions. Because as I've told you, taxation is very complicated. So there are a lot of things to consider, especially um the bonuses, the benefits, but you have to classify each, no, whether they are taxable or not taxable. So in the real world, your annual gross income is not just your basic salary, okay? So it also includes your overtime pay, the commission, the bonuses, and other taxable allowances like transportation or representation expenses. So all of these are added to your salary when calculating your true gross income. So there is also what we call the de minimis benefits. These are small benefits like the rice subsidy, uniform allowance, and even a birthday gift from the company. All of those are part of your de minimis benefits. So the government allows a certain amount of these to be tax free. So this is what I'm telling you. Not everything is tax, but there are also benefits that are taxed. So, but if they go beyond this limit, the excess will be taxable too. So lastly, don't forget about your 13-month pay and other bonuses under the law. It's just up to 90,000, and all of these other will be exempted from tax. But anything above that, it gets added to your taxable income. So remember, in our examples, we're only using basic salary to keep things clear and manageable. But in real life, payroll and tax computation, you'll have to consider all the sources of income, both taxable and non-taxable, along with the correct deductions and exemptions. Anyway, if you become future accountants, then you will be learning all about this computation. So are you now ready? So let's move on to the examples and start computing. Let's have the first illustrative example. So we have problem 1 about Carla. So her position is a sales account um, re- executive, and her monthly salary is 20,000 pesos. So first, step A, we get the annual gross income. So that's 20,000 times 12. So that's 240,000. And that is our annual gross income. Next, for step number B, we get the non-taxable income. So first, we compute for the SSS, and that is 5%. You know already the answer here. It's 1,000. So annually, it's 12,000. PhilHealth is 500. You may double check. And then we have 6,000. Pag-ibig is 200 automatically. So that's 24. Then we add everything. So that's 20,400. For step C, you get the taxable income. So that's 240,000. We deduct it from B. So that's A minus B. So we get 219,600. So notice that this is the annual taxable income, and it falls under the first bracket. So for the computation of tax due, it belongs to bracket 1. So therefore, if it is, the tax due is 0%. So therefore, um, Carla here is tax exempted. So Carla is exempted from the income tax. Minimum wage and low earners pay zero tax under the trade law. So that's the implication of this problem. Now let's proceed to the second example. The problem of Maria. So the position of Maria is a customer representative. Her monthly salary is 29,000. So to get the gross income monthly and annually, so that's 29,000 times 12. So the answer is 348,000. This is now what we call the annual gross income. Now let's compute for step B, the non-taxable income. To do that, let's compute for the mandatory contributions, SSS 5%, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig. So you may double check because you already know this skill. So we'll focus on adding the total annual. So we have 28,500. We will call this one as the total annual non-taxable income. To continue on step C, which is the taxable income, we subtract B from A. So we have 348,000 minus 28,000. So that's 319,500. So as you notice, it belongs to, so this is the annual taxable income. So it belongs to our bracket number 2. And we use the formula 15% of the excess of 250,000. So we get the excess by subtracting 250 from our annual taxable income. So we will get 69,500. So we now get 15% of it. So 69,500 times 15 is 10,425. This will be your annual income tax. So this annual income tax will now be divided into 12 so that this divided by 12 is what we call our withholding tax. So this will be part of the payslip now. So this is the estimate, no, of the accountant, no, that in which the accountant will be deducting from your monthly salary. So everything will be collected starting from January to December until you complete the 10,425. But if you receive additional benefits, then you will be um, those will be subject to taxation as well. So this is just from the basic salary. I hope that is clear. Now let's proceed to Paul, which is a government employee. So Paul here is a master teacher 1 at Pampanga High School. So let's compute the gross income by multiplying by 12. So that's 615,648. So that's our annual gross income. So next is we get the non-taxable income by computing the GSIS, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig because Paul here is a government employee. So we have the GSIS rounded off to the whole number. And then the PhilHealth, nearest centavos. And then for the Pag-ibig, it's always 200. So we have the total annual non-taxable income, which is 73,195 and 20 centavos. Now let's proceed to the taxable income. We subtract B from A. So we have this one. And the answer is 542,452 and 80 centavos. This will be your annual taxable income. Notice which bracket do we belong from based from our tax due. So for the computation of tax due, we belong to the bracket 3 and that's 22,000 base and then we get 20% of the excess of 400,000. So let's deduct 400,000 to get the excess. So that's 142,452 and 80 centavos. We add it to the 22,000 after multiplying this one by 20%. So we have 22,500 plus the 20% of 142,452 and 80 centavos. And that is 28,490 and 56 centavos. So adding both, we'll get 50,990 and 56 centavos. Of course, we have to divide it by 12 to get our withholding tax. So this 50,000 is your um, income tax that you should pay to the BIR annually. But since your employer will not be deducting you in a lump sum. So it will be just deducted monthly. And that is considered your withholding, the estimate of your tax, which is the withholding tax. So you're already starting your overpayment starting from January up to December to complete your 50,990.56. Again, disclaimer, this is still subject for changes because every December there is an adjustment on your tax, whether you will get a refund or additional payment. So I hope you get our topic for today. It's quite complicated and fast. So why are we preparing a pay slip? So understanding your gross income deductions and net pay is crucial. So a pay slip is not just a piece of paper. It will help you track your earnings, create a budget and plan financial goals, ensure accurate deductions. Knowledge of your pay structure empowers you to taxes and their purposes, computed the gross, non-taxable, and the taxable income. We have solved problems using the train law in getting the withholding tax system. So now you're ready to move on to the final part of our lesson 1.2, which is part 4, preparing the payslip. So again, this is your virtual teacher, Sir Peter, in general mathematics. So see you in part 4 no, of lesson 1.2. Keep learning and stay financially smart. Because up next, we'll learn about the last part, which is how to prepare your payslip. So stay tuned and remember, knowing your deductions is the first step towards financial independence. So see you on the next lesson. Bye!